Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Richard Carrier. Dr. Richard Carrier, PhD.
Let's suppose Jesus didn't exist. How then do we explain Christianity?
How do you explain
there's some
Christianity?
unusual yet indisputable facts that
indisputable
cue you in
facts.
on. One is that some pre-Christian Jews had already identified a character in the Old Testament named Jesus as a supreme archangel and God's firstborn son. So that belief already pre-existed Christianity. What Christianity did is they taught that their Jesus was that archangel. So they're taking an angel that already existed in Jewish angelology and attributing it to their guy. Now that could be done for a historical guy. They could be saying that there was a historical Jesus, he's this angel who came down and taught us things. But either way, whether it's that or not, they definitely have already borrowed this Jesus figure from Jewish angelology.
Angelology, as if that's like a thing. Well, according to angelology, oh my goodness, I cannot believe Dick Carrier. We got to call him Doctor. Can't we just call him Sammy Stupidhead? This is like, this theory that he puts forward, it is mind-numbing. It's like Finkel, Einhorn, Finkel, Einhorn. Like, what in the hell's going on? This guy, Dr. Dick Carrier, he says that instead of Jesus actually being an actual person who walked amongst us on this planet, on this earth, in 1st century Jerusalem, 1st century Palestine, and getting crucified and baptized by John the Baptist and doing his itinerant Judaism, preaching, he actually says, Dick Carey floats this theory. Instead of Jesus being a guy, what if he was just an angel that got in a fight in heaven, not in the first heaven, but the second heaven, not the third heaven, not the fourth, but the seventh heaven. The guy's going down an escalator. He's in the top heaven, and he's going down the escalator, and he stops at the seventh heaven, because, everybody knows that there's 7 heavens. And Jesus stops at the 7th heaven, and he has a cosmic cage match to the death with a fallen angel, a demon, that are called Archons. Maybe it's the demons Belial or Samiel. And this is all because of the ascension of Isaiah. Okay? That's what he is trying to tell us. Jesus actually wasn't a person who got deified. He wasn't an actual person. It wasn't because all the pagan gods, they combined all the pagan gods. It wasn't a retroactive invention in order to capitalize upon this Christian religion. No. According to Dick Carrier, he thinks Jesus was actually an angel walking down the steps, goes to 7th heaven, has a confrontation with the demons, and gets beat up and stripped and flogged and attacked and then crucified. That's what actually happened. It was a battle up in heaven. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. Dick Carrier, it would make more sense to me if Dick Carrier was actually paid off by the deep state of Big Jesus. Maybe the Vatican. Maybe it was the Church of England. Maybe it was the Calvinist. Maybe the Calvinists paid this guy off. Because if you're going to try to make Jesus as a myth look totally and utterly bonkers, make it seem like, even if you question the official narrative, that you should be committed to the Arkham Asylum with the straitjacket. Because he's trying to counter a stupid theory with foolishness. It's like, well, if he just counters stupidity with foolishness, well, 2 negatives make a positive and 2 wrongs make a right. Correct? Well, let's just keep listening, huh?
Before their time. And what they taught that was different from what other Jews were teaching about this angel was that this angel, archangel, descended, incarnated, was killed, and resurrected. That's the unique part of Christianity as a Jewish sect, that they have this particular doctrine. And they teach this doctrine in parallel to Satan's cosmic story. And if you know Satan, the story of Satan rebelling in heaven and being cast down. He's not cast down to earth, he's cast down into the upper heavens, or the lower heavens, below the moon. He sits up in the sky, and sky castles 100,000 miles away, sending his demons down to meddle with us and whatnot. That's standard in Jewish demonology of the ancient times. But that whole story was read out of...
Demonology? Is this a whole nother... So you have, okay, you got to take angelology 101 first, and then take demonology second. Is that how angelology is a prerequisite to demonology? Richard Carrier, I wonder if he believes that pigs can actually fly, and monkeys can fly out of Wayne Campbell's Took Us. It's like, hey, you know why Jesus didn't exist? Because pigs fly. Oh, that's why Jesus didn't exist? Because pigs fly? He points to Ascension of Isaiah, and he says it was written around the same time as the Gospels. Again, another lie. Paul's letters was written 50 CE, Gospel of Mark 70 CE, Matt 80 CE, Luke 90 CE, and John 100 CE. Now these are rough estimates, but that's the chronological order. Paul's letters, Mark, Matt, Luke, John, and they're all within a decade or two of each other. The Ascension of Isaiah was written 175 CE. So that would be 75 years after Paul's letters and the four Gospels were written. Should we keep on listening? Should we keep on listening to this shifty-eyed pet dick?
Of Scripture. It was found in there, or people wrote books about it. It's obviously not historical. There was no Satan. There was no war in heaven. It's a myth. So Satan is a non-historical person who the Jews put into history and made a historical character, and he's also an archangel. So, and Jesus, his role, I'll show you later, reverses the role of Satan. Satan rebelled, Jesus submitted, and thereby, when Satan rebelled, he brought death and all the horrible things into the world. By Jesus submitting, he canceled all of the evils that Satan caused. So Jesus and Satan are mythically designed to be oppositions. Jesus was designed to sort of cancel out Satan in Jewish mythology. So here's the alternative theory. That these events were not revealed by actually happening. The incarnation, death, and resurrection of Jesus were not witnessed by anyone. They were actually revealed through private visions only to elect persons, the apostles. And that Jesus was actually killed by Satan and his sky demons in his kingdom above the clouds. Now you might think, that sounds weird. Why would that be? Actually, we have a Christian text.
I do think that's weird. I think that is very, very weird.
Called The Ascension of Isaiah, written roughly around the same time as the canonical Gospels, that originally once actually said this, that Jesus was killed by Satan and his demons in outer space. And there's some clues as well as that other sects were teaching this, but those sects all disappeared by the mid-2nd century, and we don't get to hear anything more about them. We have no documents from them. The Ascension of Isaiah only survives in doctored copies in different versions, where people were trying to erase this part of it. But because we have different traditions in different languages, we're able to reconstruct something of the original. Look at the addressees he's talking.
So he's talking about sex. I don't want to listen to this damn Dick Carrier talk about sex. So Dick Carrier, the thing he's saying doesn't make any damn sense. It doesn't make any damn sense when I think about Bruno Bauer, when I think about other, alternative theories. Okay, Jesus became popular, took over the Roman Empire, took over Western civilization, America, Europe. Okay, so was it the theology? Was it the man? What actually was it that made him popular? Now, Dick Carrier, instead of just countering it with some logic or history or some historical facts, Dick Carrier, it's like he's trying to say, well, Jesus didn't walk on water. And the reason why Jesus didn't walk on water, well, it turns out that Jesus was actually a fish. He was a fish. So Jesus would swim in the sea. He would swim through the water. Sometimes he would get close to the surface. He would, glide near the surface. And so some people might think it was Jesus walking on water. But nope, Jesus the fish, he didn't walk on water because he's a fish. He can't even walk. I mean, that's not believable. Just say it goes against time and space. It goes against reality. It goes against biology, gravity. It goes against so many things. But to come up with an even more fantastical myth, an even more crazier myth to counter the first myth, come on.
Talking about all future Christians. He's literally talking to Christians, not just the disciples. He's not saying only you disciples will get these benefits. He's talking to all future Christians. So this is a vision that's actually directed at the Christian community in the abstract. And that's when Paul's saying, received in a vision, that's where I received from the Lord. He's talking about, I had a vision of Jesus saying this to us, essentially.
So what's Paul referring to then when he says on the night when he was betrayed?
He's referring to the actual, so this is the part we're talking about where Jesus is actually killed by Satan and his demons and stuff. So there is a narrative in there that's taking place in another realm, not on earth. But for Paul, it's not something that there were any humans there to see. It's something that went on and we only learn about through visions. But it isn't actual for him.
Okay, so that's about as clear as mud. You know why Jesus didn't expel 6,000 legion demons into 2,000 pigs, and the 2,000 pigs ran down the mountain and all drowned? You know why that didn't happen according to Dick Carrier? It's because Jesus, he used to walk to grade school. He didn't have the bus. They didn't have bus service back then, so he'd have to walk to grade school, and he would get bullied. And a lot of times he would take the long route to and from school. But one day, he wore a disguise, the beloved. That's what we're going to call Jesus, because that's what Ascension of Isaiah called Jesus. The beloved wore a fake Hitler mustache. And so Jesus is wearing this fake Hitler mustache, and he's tiptoeing. He's going to go past the bullies, but guess what? The bullies recognize Jesus. Jesus says, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this crap. And then Jesus stood up to the 6,000 legion demons. And then he got crucified. He got crucified by the 6,000 legion demons. That's why that story about Jesus expelling 6,000 legion demons into 2,000 pigs in the Bible, that's why it's not true. Just take one crazy myth and say that counters the other crazy myth. See? See, 2 negatives equal a positive, 2 wrongs equal a right, and 2 lies equal a truth. 2 lies equal a truth.
It's an actual historical event. It's just not one that took place in Jerusalem, for example. And I talk about more in the book, of course. But
is there any other questions, or? You again.
Oh, you again. And there's more in the book. There's more in the book. This guy looks like nobody's ever pushed back against anything he's ever said. And so, what he's saying is crazy. What he's saying is really stupid. Like, really, it's like if Dick Carrier was trying to counter the virgin birth, it would be like if he said, you know why the Virgin Mary didn't give birth to Jesus the Christ? Nope. According to Dick Carey, the virgin birth of Jesus by Mary did not happen, because actually it was Joseph the virgin who gave birth to Jesus. A lot of people don't know that. If you go back to not the Ascension of Isaiah, but the sawing in half of Isaiah by Manasseh, the 14th king of Judah. If you go to that book, if you go back to that book, you'll see that Joseph was a virgin and he gave birth to Christ because the Holy Spirit had implanted the seed in him. And that was after the resurrection, but it was before the wine was turned into water. You know?
We'll take a couple more questions and I guess wrap up.
No, we will not.